Mr. Rogers?
What's going on, Mr. Pittman?
I'm all right. How things going with you?
I'm doing good. I got home, got settled. I had to work a little bit late, but I still was able to get home, get settled. You know what I'm saying? Trying to reach out to you. You busy? You got something going on?
Oh, no, not at all.
Oh, okay. I wanted to talk some of that boxing talk, and I want to say that Stephen Fulton arrived today. I don't know if you seen news of that. He arrived, so he basically touched down over there.
Oh, well, that's good. I mean, you want to get over there. You want to get in that new environment. You want to get settled, So, yeah, he's doing the right thing.
Yeah, I looked into that. I'm going to get into that. I've been looking at some things, and I wanted to, I'm just going to get straight to the Inoue, because sometimes we do the current events, but after we get wrapped up, after we have our feel about this Inoue and Fulton, we'll touch on a couple state of boxing things afterwards. But we always trying to take the conversation further with the Fulton and Inoue, and I've been looking at and listening to a lot of people breakdowns on how they're seeing it, and who's calling what. And I remember one time, and this was a while ago, they was doing an interview with Andre Rozier, and I watched another video about Fulton Inoue, and I remember seeing on this video, I remember seeing it here recently. But I remember when I first saw that video, Andre Rozier, they asked him who did he think was the best fighter in the world. And he said, right now it got to be this little dude named Naoya Inoue. And I was like, in my mind, I was like, what? Like, because you got to think, at that time, I was so used to looking at ESPN because you had things like the Top Rank diet. We know that, they say it was the starter pack, because if you look, everybody who start off with ESPN, they go somewhere else and then they make, that's when they break out. If you look at all of the greats, Floyd, Oscar, Manny, if you look at all of, like, a lot of the greats, that's just the track record of what's happened. So I was in that mindset. So when Andre Rozier said that, I was like, what? And so I was thinking, because when I hear people like discount things, like the fact that he was in the Super 6 series, and how he came up out of that, and I seen and been listening to people chip away at this opponent and reasoning why this and that. I'm just like, man, like, how do you be in that state when you're watching and analyzing a fighter, especially somebody that's an opponent, a great? But I remember when I was there, and what happened was, I was starting to like hone in on which boxers I really wanted to focus on, because it's like you can't focus on all of them. But I was like, man, I'm gonna focus on, I call it the boxers to watch. I would say which ones. So I was already formulating it, and I wanted them measure 1,000 times, cut once. And we got to talking about it. You know what I'm saying? We got to talking about it, and you said something, and I had saw him, but I was looking at it through that lens, if you feel me.
Yeah, I hear you.
So I was looking at it through that lens. So that's like, sometimes I be having to figure out, like, even in troubleshooting on my job, it's like one of them things where I'm troubleshooting, I gotta understand it. So a lot of times when I'm looking at people analyzing, I gotta understand what spectrum they're looking at it from. And I was there. But this is how you stop all of that, because what I always do here is I look at the boxers inside the ring first. And if I need to go outside the ring, like if I see something in there or see anything, or if I can look at it on film and just look at you in the ring, that's what the core of what I like about boxing. It's like what happens in the ring. It's a lot of the things that's said and done or make you look at certain things, but when you go back to what your eyes saw when you was in that ring, you can eliminate all that. You can be truthful about skill sets and things like that. So I'm looking at this whole Fulton and Inoue thing and looking at how people are analyzing. We gave our predictions, pretty much. We said we already know. We went over our picks. When it come down to the acclimatization, it's supposed to be for every half hour. It's a day for every half hour. So over there in that region, it's like what, 13, 14 hours. So it's supposed to be 26 days. So that's what they say. If you factor in he's a professional athlete, you know what I'm saying, and he's accustomed to traveling and things like that, then you gotta know, yeah, he should be over there. But that's according to the acclimatization or what's recommended out there. That's how that breaks down. So he got over there in enough time to get acclimated, right? Inoue's already over there. And so I was thinking, okay, because I still stand on what I say as far as the stoppage, the body shot. I think it's gonna be a body shot stoppage. But in looking at it and analyzing everything, I was watching somebody talk about Fulton and some of the things that he brings to the table. And I was listening to what I had heard about Inoue, saying that he respects Fulton's ability, his strength, and his ability to close the distance. So I'm like, okay, the jab is gonna be key. But I'm thinking, man, maybe Inoue's best strategy is to crank up the volume. And I'm gonna let you chime in. I think Inoue's best strategy might be to crank up the volume a little bit, and I'll tell you why. But I think Fulton might have to manage that clock. Because I think if he uses length and, you know, the little height advantage he have, if he used those advantages and he can kind of manage that clock, those might be the best strategies. We went over all that other stuff, but that's what I wanted to get down to as far as the breakdown.
Well, I mean, you bringing up a very interesting point there, but I just think Inoue is just going to be Inoue. He's going to get into that fight, and he's such a good individual in sizing up the opponent that he has and figuring out what it is that he needs to do to take his opponent apart. And I just believe that Inoue is going to get out there. He's going to fight his type of fight. And I just think he's going to be a problem for Fulton. Fulton, on the other hand, has to dictate the pace. If he allows Inoue to fight and get comfortable at his pace, he's going to be in trouble. He's got to offset Inoue. He's got to initiate the contact. He's got to move, punch, get out the way. He's got to really be busy. And if he's able to do that, he will make this an interesting fight. If he do not counteract Inoue and allow Inoue just to fight the way he normally fights, he's gonna be in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he gotta be busy, but I'm like, man, it's interesting because sometimes when you punching, you're open, like, because most of the time when people are in their offense, you know, when you're dealing with somebody that can counter, you know, that could be trouble, you know. So I would say he has to be busy, but again, it can't be perceived as though he's always running. You know, it got to be perceived as though he's using his defense, but he's also, you know, he's connecting as well. He got to be connecting, not just swinging.
Yes, I agree. He's got to be busy. And one thing about Inoue stays busy. He's always punching. He's always looking for the combinations. And Fulton's going to have to offset that. He's going to have to use his jab. He's going to have to use his feet. He's going to have to use the ring, because if he gets into trying to get into straight up exchanges with Inoue, I think that will be to his disadvantage. So he's going to have to be a masterful boxer, and he's going to have to keep his distance, pick his shots, keep moving, and just don't get into constant firefights with Inoue. That happens to fighters sometimes when they get hit and they get hurt. And then they start fighting, feeling as though the pressure is really coming. And the only way to get the pressure off of them is to fight back. But he's going to have to be careful. You know, we got to realize that this is going to be a 12-round fight. And you just can't get too anxious because something happened. And then you just throw caution to the wind. Because you gotta stick to a game plan.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a fine line, because I was saying being patient, using this limb-fish reach, you know, and you saying stay busy, which I think it's a combination of both. You know, because I was listening to one analysis, and they were saying that because you gotta think, because a lot of people are reverting back to the Figueroa fight. You know, and what he was able to do, and how Figueroa is really a big boy. They say he a big boy who shrink down. So it was different taking that pressure from somebody like that. I'm like, yeah, he gets hit a lot. So somebody, excuse me, who would make him capitalize, who would capitalize on some of the mistakes he do, they could get that over with kind of quick. Especially if they had like power that he had to respect. Cause you could be a zombie, but when somebody can hit hard enough to knock you down or knock you out with any punch, you can't take too many. You know what I'm saying? Especially in a combination. So when I look at it, I don't really reason that. I look at it because I went on to look at Figueroa in another fight. I just had to resort and go back and look at some of the old film of Inoue. I had to just go back and look at it. And I'm like, man, when he crank up the volume, when he's feeling it, he's in this rhythm, that's something hard to deal with, you know. So I'm thinking, man, is he gonna use some of that? Because he knows that Fulton can manipulate distance. And like you said something very important. I think Fulton has to dictate the pace. It's almost like he gotta fight when Inoue really don't want to fight, or he might be taking a break. If you can tell, you know, whatever, you know, he might have to do the vice versa thing. I think we talked about that a long time ago. But like dictating his own pace is important.
Yeah, I agree with you. He's going to have to do that, because if he gets into Inoue's rhythm and allows Inoue to be comfortable, that's going to be to his disadvantage, because Inoue has just proven to be the type of fighter that when he gets into a rhythm and he's able to throw his combination, his body punches, and he's just able to use his arsenal, it's usually too much for his opponents. So in order to break that, Fulton is going to have to dictate some action of his own that's going to keep Inoue thinking. But if he don't make Inoue think, and Inoue is able to just move in, throw his punches, pick his shots, it's going to be difficult. So he's going to have to fight. He's going to have to continuously fight to offset Inoue's pace.
Yeah, it's just gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting because, you know, you never really reveal your strategy. But I've never seen somebody try to lean on Inoue. You know, I've never really seen somebody try to lean on him or be like in that vicinity. But it's just interesting, man, because it's just a lot of theories, and I guess it's getting closer to time, so people are really trying to break everything down. I just think it's down to now who can stay focused. I think the next checkpoint will be however they're going to do any kind of press conference. I'm sure they might do some kind of press or some kind of interview or something. I know they got to have something set up like that, and then it gets down to the weigh-ins and everything.
Yeah, they're gonna. I mean, for the true boxing fans, you know, because there is, you know, a little language barrier there. You know, it's interesting to see how the interpreter's gonna put Inoue's words into English so that we can understand what he's saying. And I don't know. I can't wait, man. This is going to prove to be a very interesting fight. Very interesting.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons why they just gotta fight, man. They gotta, it's just one of the ones where they gotta fight because it could be an argument either way. And, this is like, I like this conversation because it brings me back to them two, Stephen Fulton and Naoya Inoue, basically being what's right with boxing right now. So it's like we can, myself, I have my criticism of what I think about this boxing, that boxing, I do. But this is an example of where both of them men came together and said, you know what? I want what you got. I want to defend it. It'd be an honor to share the ring with you. Let's get paid. Let's have a legacy fight. Let's put it all on the line. And this is rare. Because right now, if you go outside of this fight, we've been getting a lot of big fights. But there's still some fights, mainly down in the 35 area, that it's a triangle of people down there, or maybe even a quadrant of people down there. Better yet, a fifth. It's so much smoke at 135, man, that, I wish that some of this Stephen Fulton energy would just jump off into some of them, and some of this Naoya Inoue would just jump off into them, and they would follow this right here. You know what I'm saying? Like, where it can't be no questions asked. You know what I'm saying? For money, legacy, belts, everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what's right, and this is one of the reasons why I come back to this conversation. You know what I'm saying? So salute to them.
Definitely, I agree with you. When this fight didn't take no time to match these guys together, as soon as Inoue indicated that he was moving up, Fulton was right there to say, okay, I'm not going nowhere. Let's get this fight together. And this fight took no time to put together. Yeah, all the elements seems to be very suitable and right for everybody involved, and there was no lot of back and forth or whatever. I think everything was just managed perfect for these guys, and the end result is that we're gonna be entertained with a very good fight.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's a treat, It was none of that, what have you done to get here and fight me for my belts? It was none of that. It was, these guys led by example, to anybody who might be listening. These guys led by example and just made it happen, man. It was nothing that needed to come out. Next thing you know, it was like, oh, we got the fight. Okay, when is it? Oh, we got a date. That was all it was to it. And we getting the best fight and the best in this one, So I just wanted to reiterate that. Outside of that, share your views on Boots, because I think we gotta clear the record. I know from my perspective, we gotta clear the record, because I try to put the boxers on the scale and do it with them all across the board. But in today's day and time, when you have a little criticism, you get deemed as, a hater. But I think we looked at Boots' performance, and what did we come up with?
Well, I think with his performance and the way he dominated that fight, I think he solidified the fact that he deserves to be considered the number one contender right now for a welterweight title. I was impressed with his performance. He showed strength. He showed ring generalship. And he showed that he had the stamina to continue a tough fight and to prevail. I didn't see any flaws in him in that fight. It was just a good, hard-nosed fight. And it was a fight where, as far as I'm concerned, he delivered. He did everything that he needed to do to be victorious. Not only to be victorious, but to show his dominance over his opponent. He did an excellent job, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that my biggest takeaway was that Boots looked comfortable, and I think when Boots is comfortable to where he can, he feels comfortable to where he can let his arsenal go, it's dangerous. So with Boots, you gotta think, man. I'm a cornerback. In high school. I played corner. So I'm defensive by nature. So I'll be thinking like, man, defensively. But like right now, you gotta be one. You gotta have a beard going up against Boots because he can crack. Two, you gotta be able to make him uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? To have any chance. If he gets comfortable to where he feel like, oh, I can hit you with this, I can hit you with that, I can go downstairs, go back upstairs, like you are in trouble. That's what I realized. So it gotta be, I ain't gonna say it gotta be the rough 'em, tough 'em, because that can backfire. You have them, but you gotta have the kind of style, or you gotta have a skill level to where you can make him uncomfortable. Because when I look at this fight and this recent fight with Villa and the last fight with Karan, I question whether or not the game plan that Villa and his coach had, like we talked about it. I said, man, well, they said they're gonna stand right in front of him, and if they do that, Boots might hit him with some kind of Mortal Kombat. Like they said they dare to fight. They not gonna run like Karan did, and I think that Karan moved too much, and Villa didn't move enough. But he didn't really do anything to make Boots uncomfortable, if you ask me.
No, he didn't, because his forward progress coming forward, he wasn't really letting his hands go. He was coming in with the high guard, merely trying to pick off Boots' punches. But in the same token, he wasn't mounting a credible offense that could make Boots think. And Boots just was able to fight his fight throughout the whole fight.
Yeah, you kept saying that after every round. You said, man, he gotta mount his offense. That was the main. I was like, what you think about that? Like, man, this guy got a mountain offense. That's all you kept saying.
He was coming in, but he was just coming in with a high guard. That's all. He really wasn't punching. So, his lack of offense got him in trouble. He fought a fight where it was almost like, I'm going to do this rope-a-dope in the middle of the ring. I'm going to let him punch. And eventually, he's going to punch himself out. And then I'm going to come on strong. It's almost like he was trying to fight the same fight he did with Rashidi.
Yeah, that's what I thought. By the 6-7 round, I said, oh, he must be trying to preserve something, And then it got to the point where he was taking on. It was so much, water getting into the boat. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, man, like when you know what I'm saying? Like that might not like turn it on at some point, and he just never did. It was just an accumulation of savagery. I don't know.
Yeah, I was watching that fight and I said, man, he's gonna get in trouble. And when he get in trouble and he start taking punishment, if he goes down, the fight is gonna be over, because he's suffered too much battle, and he's gonna be worried of battle fatigue. And towards the end of that fight, when he went down, you could see that he was a beaten warrior. He was down. He knew where he was at. He was looking around, and he was just sitting there like, this is it. I can't do no more. That was all he could give. And I kind of saw this manifesting right in front of my eyes. I say he's gonna get in trouble, and this fight is gonna be over. It's not gonna be any he's getting up, he's gonna take the count, and he's gonna go back in, he's gonna fight. No. When he get interrupted and he get knocked off his feet, or the referee has to step in, this fight will be over, because he's not gonna have anything left in the tank.
So I mean, I take my hat off to him, man, because he definitely like the reviews and everything I've seen or been privy to, getting a pulse on, people are ecstatic about Boots. They are, excited. They reinvigorated about his future. He did that under the big bright lights, and that was a move for him to headline. And I just can't help but wonder what's next. I don't think he'll get a bite at the Spence or Crawford apple, especially at 47. I don't think so. Like, would I want to see it? Yeah, I would, but I don't think, being realistically, I don't think he's gonna get a bite at either one of them. And so I was saying, man, I would love to see him against Ugas. I think matchup wise, I think that'll be the biggest test for him. If he went up against Keith Thurman, that'll probably be a bigger bag because Keith is gonna sell that fight, and Stanionis would be like fighting one of the other guys that I think is gonna wind up with one of them belts. I think he's gonna wind up with the IBF. No, he gonna wind up with. He was getting ready to fight WBA. Yeah, the WBA, I think. So that'll just be fighting one of the other kings. That's gonna be, part of the people that's gonna round out that division. I think, only other thing I could see really would be a fan-friendly, in a good fight, of two people that's like, you could say are pretty much almost on the same level as Ugas and Keith Thurman. Because if they're gonna keep it with the old guard and all that, and they're not gonna give some of them young lions a shot, we might see a Keith Thurman and Ugas, and it might have to go down to Boots and Stanionis. And then whoever else decide they want to, come for. I don't know. I'm right now. I'm so focused on Bud and Spence that I know all of the welterweights. But right now, I'm thinking as far as the foreseeable future, those are the names that I see.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this is the welterweight division. After this fight, it might take on a different picture, because if Spence and Crawford exit the welterweight division and give those belts up, you're looking at a whole new generation of welterweights that's vying for titles, and it would be four belts on the line. So you're talking about an explosion. So yeah, this could manifest into a free fall in that welterweight division.
Yeah, that's what it's gonna be. That's what it's looking like. And one of the people chimed in and was saying they look forward to hearing us talk about Spence and Bud. So I was like, man, we'll chop it up. It's been a minute since we really chopped it up and did a segment on them. So I'll go back because there's a lot of stuff that's been being said and a lot of theories and a couple little events, but I'm going to get back to the X's and O's, because the best way to protect yourself when you're watching the fights is to go back and look and see what you actually saw in the ring. Go back and look at film. Go back and look. Don't listen to everything and everybody. Go back and look at the film and then see what the film, because every time I watch one of Spence fights, I see something different. And then I hear him say something like, like he prefer to block as opposed to slip. So you're not gonna really be perceived as a slick boxer if you don't look to slip. That's Bud style. Spence would rather block, because then he can block and shoot. You know what I'm saying? He can catch and shoot. You know what I'm saying? So that's a whole different ball game. It's just a different strategy. So it's just a lot of little things. And every time I look, and then when I go back and look at Bud, I'm like, okay, I see something else. So that's what I do. And that's what keeps the passion for it, because listen to a lot of the narratives and all that, you'll get so far removed from great fighters are fighting elite fighters, and the sweet science will tell you something, but they gotta fight and you gotta see it to know the outcome. You know what I'm saying? But we're getting there. So I think we should do an episode on that, here if the week go fine. We'll do that in a couple of days. But your boy Frank Martin fight this weekend.
Yeah, and like you mentioned earlier, that 135 division, man, that division has a lot of talent in that division, and I can't wait to see these guys matching up with each other. But unless there's a title on the line, it's very dangerous for these guys to fight each other, because they don't want to, fall off the ladder. They want to stay in contention of getting a title shot, and they don't want to be the one that knock each other, out of that position. So, it's going to take a lot of finagling to get some of these fights done at 135, because everybody's seeking, a championship fight.
Well, I think what I think about, speaking of Frank Martin, what I think about the thing about the 35 division, and we got Tank, you know what I'm saying, that's the apex predator in my opinion. But the dangerous thing about Frank Martin is the man is very mature. He has a very high boxing IQ, and he has Earl behind him promoting him. So that's that right there. See, he can be a seek and destroyer, because if him and Earl talk and he be like, all right, I want him, like Frank wants Shakur. Now Spence like, man, nah, he don't want Keyshawn, he want you. See, the dangerous thing about that is Earl and the Ghost, they could pull that trigger. Like, so all of that jockeying and vying, because Frank been moving up the ladder. You know what I'm saying? He's like right there. He's been moving up the ladder. Got to go back and look at the rankings. But after this fight, after a couple fights, they always redo him or whatever. But he can pull the trigger and run down on some of these people. So it ain't nothing but an agreement for him and Tank to get it on right now, if enough people want to see that, or if they can sit down. You know what I'm saying? If Frank really want that, he can do that. So it's getting ready to be to the point to where these guys gotta fight, because they're realizing that when they go fight anybody outside of it, and then looking at what Tank and Ryan did without any belts, if enough people want to fight it, want to see it, and you make that fight, you can get paid. And Spence ain't look like, if Spence don't dodge no smoke, we know Derrick James got that IQ, and Frank, he got him in, he got multiple champions. He got that whole network behind him, moving up the ranks. People ain't gonna really be able to run but so much. You know what I'm saying? So it's getting ready to be down to where they're gonna have to fight each other. They're gonna have to.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna tell you, as a fight fan, I'm looking forward to that happening. In many cases, sometimes fighters want to fight each other, but the job of the promoters and those people that put these fights together, everything's got to come together, and everybody's got to be in agreement. So I'm hoping that things will manifest itself so that these guys at 135, they can begin to, make a name for themselves by fighting each other, because it is so much talent there. It's a lot of talent, and it's a lot of good potential fights to be made at 135.
Well, I heard, I heard from a channel I rock with early in the mornings, Jay Hardcore. I heard on his channel that Tank and Devin been in negotiations, and he said he got that from a very, very reliable source. You know what I'm saying? He do interviews with Coach Calvin. He do interviews with the whole camp and all them. So, I don't know, what's going on, but he knows a little bit of things, and he put out there that Lil Birdie said that, hey. So he's like, let it be known. So Lil Birdie said that they getting that underway, and there's some other thing that came out with Shakur actually petitioning, putting in some paperwork to try to go ahead and make that fight with Devin happen. So it's a lot of smoke right now with the 3 top dogs. It's just we gotta be patient and let everything unfold.
Yeah, I am looking forward to that 135 division. I am definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, we just gotta let everything pan out, and everything will come together. But boxing is in a good place, man. Boxing in a good place, and we have 2023 has been tremendous. As far as getting good fights, and I even said that it might even be a glimpse of Benavidez about to fight Morrell.
Yeah, that would be a good one too.
So I'm like, man, like the Christmas then came a couple different months, in the sport of boxing. So I mean, it's a lot of things we can look at, on a positive note with boxing. So, again, the Fulton Inoue conversation is always, one of the ones that we can say, hey, because a lot of people talking smack, man, and I'm like, man, they about to get it on. So I just wanted to rap to you about it. I know how passionate you get about Inoue and how you feel about it. I know you would get more and more excited the closer it gets. So I just want to have another conversation with you about it.
Yes, sir, and I appreciate the time and the effort that you put in, and you allow me to be a part of your program.
Absolutely, we partners. You know what I'm saying? You see a lot of people tuning in, man. They want to hear it. Like I said, a request for us to talk about Spence and Bud was made. So I'm like, okay, so now that's the kind of audience who really want to hear, like a breakdown. You know what I'm saying? Because I be trying to, sometimes I got to try to play devil's advocate. I got to try to ebb and flow, but you just stay even keel. You handle it very well. I be trying to spar and dig, and you just be like, well, yeah, we gotta. So it's balanced, you know what I'm saying? So I grow, I sit back and reflect, and sometimes I listen back to some of the episodes, and I'm like, man, I grow as a boxing fan, because on my, when I'm on my other stuff, I get the last shot, but when I have real conversations and really break it down, and I mix in how I feel a little bit with some of the numbers and all that, run it by you, you know what I'm saying? You get everything right, and I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe I should relax on that. Let me just wait, you know what I'm saying? So we partners, man. You add a lot of value to the channel. I think a lot of our listeners love like hearing you talk about that boxing. I still got to get that Ike Bucci out you. But the week when I'm off a call, I'm gonna hold your feet to the fire and get that, because we got an audience that want to hear that.
Yeah, he was definitely somebody that was gonna make a mark in the heavyweight division. And right when he was on the verge, he got himself in trouble and wound up going to prison. But he was a tremendous fighter, and he had what I believe was an excellent future as a young heavyweight. But it all went up in smoke, as they say, because he went to prison.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that. We're gonna go in depth, but I'll hit you up and let you know some of the things about this Bud and Spence, and we'll break it down and do it justice like we always do.
Yes, sir. Well, I'll be looking forward to it. And once again, anytime that I can contribute to your program, I would, I appreciate the time and the effort that you give me.
No doubt. We appreciate you. All right, well, have a good evening.
Yes, sir.
Right.
You do the same now.
All right, then. Peace.
All right, you take care.
Yep, that was my old head K. talking that good old boxing talk, man. Trying to take the conversation on boxing a little bit further. You know, it's almost like sometimes I'm not even gonna say an alter ego. Sometimes I just say what I feel like need to be said. Sometimes I feel like that uncle that just be needing to say what they need to say about boxing. But when I had according to my old head, I know he even killed, and he'll, you know, talk me down off the ledge sometimes and how I feel, you know, because I'll be wanting to see all of the smoke. I want to see all of the smoke. But anyways, man, thanks for everybody who tune into the channel. You know, thanks for everybody who take time to comment. Thanks for everybody who take time to say, you know what, that was a good segment, or, you know, you learned this, or even add and answer and fill in questions, you know, that we have, because, you know, people have been doing that, you know, and I think the kind of audience, because this is my core audience, the ones who listen to this channel is my core audience, the ones who just resonate with you, where you don't necessarily have to see somebody. I got videos where you can see me talking my smack and breaking down boxes and showing you visuals, but my core audience are the ones who don't have to see. They just listen and they understand or overstand. You know, a lot of my audience, I wanted to be auditory, where you had to visualize and see, you know, and break down boxing. So that's what I like about it. That's what I enjoy about it, and that's why I always get my old head K on here. And I think we make a good team, you know. And plus, as a person that's been from generation to generation, you know what I'm saying, just looking at boxing over these years and seeing the different generations within boxing in these last 30, 40 years, it's a treat to see how they still feel about boxing in the fighter that they feel passionate about. So this really my salute to my old head, and allowing the world to be able to listen. Whoever take the time to listen. But we appreciate everybody here, man. I salute everybody who support the channel, man. We appreciate you a lot. Thanks for tuning in here at Bodywork Boxing, where we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.